Welcome to the webinar that we're going to be running on a regular basis now going forward, how to make Microsoft 365 administration much easier for you. My name is Carl Sand. I'm the product marketing manager here at Whitria, and I'm joined by Eric Hoofnagel, who is the founder and CEO of Whitria. Eric will be doing the demo and assisting me with all the technical questions, hopefully of which you have a bunch, and we'll cover that at the end here. So agenda of what we're going to cover here at the event. Just a short introduction of who Whitria is. If you don't know who we are, we've been in this space for quite a while, and talk about our background, and then talk about you. What are the challenges that you're dealing with these days with administering your Microsoft collaboration cloud environment and all the tools that you're having to deal with? Then we'll dive right into and spend most of our time with the solution overview and demonstration of our tool set. That is a huge help for you guys. And then finish up with kind of the benefits of optimizing your administration and go into some Q&A. So all told, we should be into the Q&A section probably by the bottom of the hour or shortly thereafter. So first of all, Whitria. This is all we do. We are an ISV tool vendor. So for the past 22 years, we've been building solutions to help administrators like yourselves. We started off in the IBM Lotus Domino space back in 2002, grew that tool set very broadly to over 2,500 customers all around the world, over 82 countries, and then started to watch the market. And as you guys know, because you're in the Microsoft space now, that's where everything started to transition to, so we did as well. So in 2018, we designed, architected all of the great functionality that we had in the IBM version of our tool sets and moved it into a solution for the Microsoft environment. And it's on version 3 this year. So why? Simple question. This is where everybody was moving to. And when one customer moves over, maybe you don't pay it any recognition, but when a lot of them start moving over there, you definitely pay attention. So especially when COVID hit, Microsoft Teams, everybody was using it when they were working remotely. It became very, very popular, and it basically doubled in size since 2019. But even though everyone is using it, what we identified after talking to customers and doing our own research, that it's not an easy platform to manage. And here's why. It's not just one thing. It's a lot. A lot of different things fall under the umbrella of administration for Microsoft 365. And of course, Microsoft, being the wonderful tool provider for administrators, had to create an admin center for each component of it. If you want to monitor, manage Teams, you have to go into that admin center. M365 has its own, so it's Exchange and SharePoint. And for doing mass updates to groups or attributes for users, of course, there's PowerShell that you have to write. But it's cumbersome and problematic to write all those PowerShell scripts without a safety net. So what we heard from customers all around the world when we were doing our discussions over the past few years is they wanted help, better capabilities for these 3 main categories. First of all, administration, one tool set to do everything, one single pane of glass instead of multiple that you'd have to keep switching between, and better visibility, bring all the information from the different segments together into a single system so we could manage it, do reporting, do auditing, all together. And then, of course, managing license costs. So this is really hard dollar savings for customers. They didn't want to keep paying for extra licenses that they weren't using or didn't need, or wanted to do a more proactive approach to manage their licenses. So hopefully some of these ideas ring true to you, because this is what we've noticed recently is the frustration coming from IT administrators that are, basically wringing their hands and pulling their hair out when it comes to complex updates, monitoring, management of their Microsoft 365 environment. The last bullet point there is huge. Allowing the help desk to make updates or other level 1 technicians, you have to give out global admin rights for allowing them to do anything. And that's a huge security issue. So most organizations don't do that. Instead, all the updates are mandated and rolled down to the lead engineers who do have global admin rights. So how do you get around all that stuff? All these challenges led to the opportunity to build a solution, a universal admin tool set, one tool set that would provide you guys full visibility and full control over your environment, help you easily, quickly find and troubleshoot any issues that are out there, make bulk updates. Don't make them one at a time. Make bulk updates safely without having to write PowerShell. And of course, being able to delegate those admin tasks down to the help desk or level 1 admin so they can perform the more common tasks like changing passwords and simple stuff like that. So every time I show this slide, the folks I'm in front of, the folks like you are like, hey, I get it, Carl, this sounds great, but what's in it for me? What are the benefits that I get out of this? And that's where this slide comes in. So our tool does a lot of different things. It's so much that, I can't just go through a slide that has a laundry list of speed and feeds on it. So what we did was we created 4 categories of what's in it for you. So these are the benefits or where we help IT administrators. So let me go around this quickly and then I'll hand the baton over to Eric and he'll dive in and show you guys this stuff. But just wanted to make sure you're cognizant of these top 4 categories of where we're trying to help. Administration. To get all these activities, your day-to-day tasks done in minutes, not hours, without having to write any PowerShell. Make sure that your license inventory is accurate, so you're not paying for things that you don't need and don't use, inactive accounts that are sitting out there that you want to recover. We help you find them quickly and recoup, reharvest, whatever adjective you want to use, get those licenses back so you can reuse them. Security issues, being able to spotlight these needles in a haystack so you can get them fixed quickly. Find groups that don't have any owners and get those cleaned up. People that have, shared files anonymously outside the organization or auto-forwarding their email outside the organization. All these little things, we help you find them and get them fixed right away. And then monitoring and reporting. If your bosses want, beautiful reports of usage activity, of adoption, functions, all this type of stuff, we can easily provide that to you because all of the information we bring together into a single pane of glass. So customer of ours that had been using Sapio 365 for about a year and a half, 2 years, right, Eric? Ewing has been a customer of ours, I think, for quite a while.
Yeah. At least 2, even more than 2,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, this is what they got it for. They wanted to automate a lot of their activities, especially new user onboarding or provisioning. There was a lot of manual tasks to get that done, and it took a long time. And they wanted to do a better job of license management proactively. When they started using the tool, immediately they found 90 accounts that were inactive that they could recover those licenses. Turned out there were a mixture of licenses, so overall they were able to save $12,000 in their yearly spend to Microsoft. So the visibility, being able to do bulk updates, these guys were kind of a perfect match for us. And they aren't huge, right? They have 1,500 employees, endpoints, and consultants. So a simple tenant, 1,500 users, but big time savings using our solution.
So hi everybody, so welcome to Sapio 65. This is Sapio 65, so it's my desktop application I have currently on my computer. I'm connected using my credential, so there is no special credential here. I'm just use my admin credential to the tenant to connect to the tenant. And from there, I'm able to go and have a look at all the users. So the main idea here is that we are going to show you everything, so everybody who's currently inside of your tenant. So, and we're going to grab more than 200 properties in one place. So rather than having information from multiple places around in multiple portal here, you will have everything at hand directly, as you can see. On this user, for example, have a big list of information available for this person, and this presentation, so this grid presentation here, allow me to definitely choose what I want to see here, so I can organize my report the way I want. So, for example, if I want to see the date of the password last change, I just added my column here, so I can choose from the more than 200 properties informations that come from the user information, some mailbox information, OneDrive information, MFA situation, etc., etc. So here, what can I do with that? So first, having this global vision, so I have currently 500 users, just for your information. We have customers who manage more than 300,000 users and using Sapio 65, and it works pretty well, the same. So let's say here, I want to have a quick vision of my situation on my signing status. So what I'm going to do a quick analysis. So I'm going to grab and organize by signing status. I'm going to have a vision by a license assigned. And the same here, I will want to have a situation on my department, so to have a better ID. So I'm going to put the department here. And so if I collapse and have a better look at my situation, so already here, as you can see, I have a situation of what I'm paying. So this is the monthly amount. So what I'm paying currently for my users. And for example, so if I want to have a look on the license point of view rather, so I'm going to collapse that, expand here, and here I see, okay, I have some E5 that has been assigned to one engineering guy and two finance guy, and so who actually are set as blocked. So in a way, I'm spending some money for nothing. Every time I created a presentation, a view like that, one thing I can do also is we're talking about reporting. So at any time you can ask to export that. So you could export that to any kind of format. So to have a report of the situation. And the other interesting part is you won't have to recreate that because you can create your own views. So you can organize every time you have something, you can decide to organize to keep the presentation you have currently and to say, okay, I want to have a view because I want to reuse this presentation next time. Sapio 65 provides some default views, but you can create your own, even share your own. So let's, for example, here, I have a view that's going to show me a situation with all my, so it's going to focus only on the blocked user. So this gives me a direct report of what are the blocked user with a paid license, or something I care about on my tenant. I could have a presentation and see a situation for my MFA. So what is the MFA methodology being used on my tenant, and which one? So maybe I want to get rid of because they are pretty weak. Like for example, SMS. Usually, for what we know, the SMS is something that we're little by little pushing away because it's not the safest way to do that. I could have a presentation, and have a situation with what is my shared mailbox that, for example, have the shared mailbox that have a license being assigned. So I want to do something about that. So as you can see, so multiple ways to look at it. So some views are provided by default, and your own views to organize your own presentation the way you want and look at your user. So that's the analysis part, I would say. So with the analysis and the report, sorry. From there, what can I do? So what I can do also is I can do modifications. So let's say if I look at my licensed users only, okay, so I have all my user here, and I can see that some user here have an operation department that I want to change, so this is incorrect. So I'm going to select my user, click on edit, and from here I will have the ability to do multiple and mass edition of my user. So you see already all the information that can be changed. So in this case, I'm just going to simplify that to operation, apply that, and now I have my situation of my modification. The interesting part is that with Sapio 65, you will see what you did first, so you can validate your modification before you decide to apply your modification to the tenants, which I'm going to do right now. So I just change my department on all my users at once, as you can see here. So now the users are part of the operation department. So multiple modification can be done. So as you can see here, I can create, I can delete user, change the manager, reset password. So all this mass action can be done directly on my user. I can also go and navigate a bit and see some information about this user. So for example, if I want to have a look on the group this user are part of, so here I got directly the ability to see all the group and teams they are part of, and from there I will have the ability to remove, add people from groups quickly, and this on multiple users at once. So all that, so give you the ability to have this global vision, and after you have the ability to navigate through the group membership, the OneDrive file, mailbox permission, etc., etc. So let's talk about the onboarding. So for the onboarding, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to, okay, sorry, I want the department. Where is my department? Is here. Okay. So on the department here, I'm going to select the outbound sales, so these two users. So my objective is to hire 2 new people. So these are the 2 people I want to hire here. And the objective is to onboard these 2 people. So onboarding implies multiple steps. So this is where we have jobs. So from the way it works, it's simple. You select, in fact, the user you want to use as a template, and then after that, you go and select this user, and you launch the onboarding job. So these jobs are in fact automation. So what we call that automation, it's kind of macros. So it gives you the ability to automate multiple steps in Sapio 65 at once. So here in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my file. So the file I have here, I'm going to reuse the attribute of the current user. I'm going to apply the same license, the same groups. I'm going to, if I want, I could add some access to this mailbox, and for some MFA, I'm going to assign a manager right away. So I'm going to assign this guy as a manager, and I want to have a quick export of the information of this new user. So I can after provide the password. So I will have an export with the password of the user. So here I launch the process. What it does, so as you can see, he looked, and so it's going to check. So what do we have? So you have a selection of 2 users to use as a template. So we're going to check, okay, what kind of license? I have some available, so I'm going to work on it. So I'm going to use that. If there is a problem, it will tell me, I don't have any license to do what you want for. We see that the user have some groups, so it was part of some groups. So now it gathers all the information about this template user, and it provides me the ability to match. So my Excel file, so there is no enforced format. So from here, I have the ability to match whatever I need. So by default, he found a display name, a username, first name, last name. This is perfect. Let's continue with that. So now he's going to continue on the process, and he's going to effectively create the user. So this is what he's currently doing. So he's creating the new user. Once the user is created, because you need to have the user first, so we are going to be able to apply the license. We're going to be able to apply. So this is now he's applying the license, and after that he's going to add the user to the selected groups. And after that, he's going to, once this is done, he's going to apply and set the manager on my new users. So here we can see he's assigning the manager on the new users, doing the process, saving that. So now he's going to load the information to check that everything is correct. And here we do it, okay. And refreshing the data to be sure that we have everything up to date, because sometimes there is some lags. Office 365 is not immediate sometimes when you do some modification. So the process is going to recheck that everything is effectively went through, and now it is finished. Okay, so I just created 2 users, assigned some license, assigned some groups, assigned a manager, and all that. I did that in less than 3 minutes. So this is really the interest part here. So, and the same, we will have the same logic, for example, for the offboarding. So I select my users. This time I select directly the user I want to offboard. And from there, it's going to provide me a menu, like a list of options. Oh, sorry, I click on the onboarding again. Sorry for that. Here, this guy, offboarding here. So it's going to load and ask me, so what do you want to do to offboard this user? So I want to check that they effectively have a manager, because having a manager on someone you're going to offboard is important, because the manager will be able to eventually have access to the OneDrive that stay here, so to the mail file, etc. So you want to be sure that there is a manager. The regular action to kind of kick the guy out, because this is what we want. We want to offboard, so block signing, so reset password, revoke the access, eventually rename the user so it marks that this guy has been moved out. If you want to transform the mailbox to a shared mailbox, so you keep the mailbox here in the variable. Since you're creating a shared mailbox, you have the ability to provide some delegation to this shared mailbox and some full access to this shared mailbox. Ability to remove some license, remove any role, remove multiple type of group. Download the OneDrive. If you want to do a backup of that, we can even give you the ability to upload what you get in a specific team channel. Some customer does that. They use a team channel like a backup. And then after you please OK, and the process is going to go through and do all the work. So as you can see here, it's a work. I'm working from a context. Sorry, my dog is whining. Sorry for that.
Hey, quick question on the
Sure.
offboarding part, Eric. Is it possible to schedule those jobs to run in the future? Like, hey, I've got these 3 users and I want to block their access or start the offboarding next Friday and just flag them to be offboarded at a specific date and time.
So this is what we do from what we call the catalog of jobs, what I call the global jobs. So these jobs are able to work on multiple tenant or one tenant. Here you have a job which is deactivate selected user. So this job mostly is going to focus on the blocking the access, so removing the ability to access anything. And this job, so the way it works is you will select the user you want to work on from here. And the interesting part is then after you can schedule that. The way the scheduler works, it uses a Windows Task Scheduler for that, because it's a desktop application. So we use a Windows Task Scheduler, and is going to process the action when you decide to process it.
Fabulous. And all those jobs, how many jobs are there available for people to pick from? And
so we have more than 180. We have more than 180 jobs available currently. This is something that can grow. So we regularly add some new job, knowing that you also have the ability to create your own job. For example, take one of our job and modify it to adapt it to your effective requirements you may have. So you can create all your own job, maybe a job on a context like the one we saw in the user, or a job like that can do a full report on something.
Gotcha. Eric, a couple questions came up. If you have just a second now in the middle of the demo, I think it'd be good to answer these.
Sure.
And then instead of waiting to the end, because I'm sure we'll have more. So the first one is about using this solution in a government, GCC high tenant. I know we're limited to what the Graph API allows, but can you expand on how it works?
Okay. It works. Theoretically, it works. I'm saying theoretically because we were never able to test it because we don't have a GCC account, unfortunately. But we know how. We know what needs to be done. So we have an option to, because it's mostly a question of entry points. So you don't use the same entry points that you use with the regular tenants, and so you have the ability to override and set the entry points that goes to the GCC. Yeah.
So in essence, it should work. There's no architectural limitations. We just need somebody to work with us to test it out. So Dave, thanks for that question. I'd love to work with you and see if we can set up a trial in your GCC i10. Eric, the next question is about, I think, synchronized AD with an on-premises account. So the tenant is synchronized using AD Connect if there's a limitation on using the tool.
Sure, but so what happened is that definitely there is things you cannot change on Office 365 because they are managed through the the
Connect, yeah.
AD server. Yep, and so the way it works is that we give you the ability to manage that also. As you can see here, my user here is in fact in a hybrid environment, and he has, as you can see here, edit on-prem setting is with a green tick. It means that he's currently connected on the AD at the same. The consequence of that, I can show you that really quickly. What it means that if I go here and say, okay, I want to load the on-prem user, I'm going to use the cache for now. The refresh should be, yeah, it's a connection through a VPN through should work. It's coming. So it's going to connect directly to the AD. So it's going to use your, this is done. And I'm going to do a show on that. So as you can see here, so I have some new columns. I have this important column here, really interesting, which is in fact the sync status. So if I do a global setting, a global grouping on that, now I have a situation with my pure cloud, pure on-premise, and my synced one. And so now every time I do an addition, a creation, I have the choice. So I can choose if I want to work. So because we don't know how it's if it's you are in a push pull or a push only. Usually 90% are in
Yeah.
push.
Yeah, most
And yeah, most are. So you have the ability to choose and to say, okay, here I want to edit these users, and you choose to edit the part which is on the AD part, and it's going to do that for you. You even have the ability to enforce a sync. So with that, with from Subject 65, you can kick AD, say, okay, now let's push that immediately to the cloud, please.
Oh, so you'll be able to see right away after the sync is forced, whether it
there is
goes
always
to.
delays because after that, the time for Office 365 to digest the new information you get already is never immediate. It takes a few minutes usually. Depends on, but at least because usually the refresh is on I think the default is 30 minutes, every 30 minutes or 1 hour, and so you can kick that in and say, no, I want to refresh now, and so you can trigger refreshment or immediately.
Got it. Another quick question came in basically related to the automation jobs that you were just demonstrating. What if a customer of ours needs to create their own customized automation job? How does that work?
So everything is available. You have the ability to create your own. So you can use an existing job to create another one. So you take the job. So we use it's a scripting, and so it's a macro logic. So we have a kind of a language for that. So you can take any job, create your own. We have a full documentation explaining all and with some example. And anyway, we can also help. Usually if we see that if you have a request for a job where we see a value for everybody, then there is a big chance we're going to develop it for you, and because we were going to make the job available for everybody using Sapio 65 for sure. Okay. So everything, just to go quickly, everything I was able to do on users, we saw all the ability to see the user and the user information and what we can do on the reporting modification. You have exactly the same thing on the level of the groups, so group and teams. As you can see, same presentation. I got all my groups and teams. I can also load and see my on-premises one all together at once. And from there, we have the ability to do some modification, manage the members, owners, be able to go and have a look to the files. So even if you have the access for that, you will be able to go to the channels. So you have really a full access and a full capacity to go through the data you have here. Something interesting. So first thing, I don't know if you noticed, I know that if you have multiple tenants, I'm currently logged in on 3 different tenants at the same time. I don't have to log out, log in, and I'm working on them at the same time. So for example, here, I was looking at this admin on this tenant, but at the same time, for example, here, I got all the registered device from Whiteshare. So you have the ability to keep and have all your tenants at the same time and work with them if you have multiple tenants. No need to log out, log in. And after that, interesting part is about delegation. So Carl mentioned that initially during the presentation is, okay, so this is nice. I'm using my credential. I'm going to get some information. But what if I want to provide access to someone who I don't want to give the full key of the house?
Yeah,
So
which is very common. Don't give the keys away.
Yeah, usually. So this is where we provide our all role-based access controls. The way it works is we give you the ability to set some kind of a master credential, a system account that will give you a full access. Then you will be able to define some scopes. Scopes can be really precise. Just to show you, for example, if I select on users, I get a long list of we don't choose. We give you the menu. It's like a Chinese menu. You choose which one you want. If you want to have some rice with some names and some stuff, it's your choice. So you can reorganize the stuff you want. So you already have a long list of properties to choose from to create your scopes. And from there, after that, you will be able to create a role. So a role will be assigned to someone. And this role, you will have the ability to define where, as you can see, every checkbox here is a specific permission. So in fact, it's a specific action you can do in SAP 365. So you can be really restrictive about the user will be able to do on a specific scope of user. An example of that is this role. This one has been assigned to Lee here. So if I look at Lee, who I'm currently connecting on, I have this vision of my users. I only have 61 users. I don't have all users. I only have the engineering users of my company. And the only thing that Lee can do on this user is going to reset the password and revoke the access, and that's it. So it gives you a really control access of what the person will be able to do. Knowing that anything you do in SAP 365 is going to be logged. So you will keep a full trace. So you have the log in Office 365 itself, but you have the log also in SAP 365. So you keep a full trace of the action that's been done here.
Cool. A common question that we get is around logging of all the activities that happen. Is there a way you can show the log history?
Yep. So we get the full log here, user activity log from here, and from here we have the full action of okay, what has been done. If he used a role, so if he used a role to do a modification, what change he made, what was the version information before and after. So you have a full presentation of the action itself. I see there is a question for the onboarding and offboarding. Yes, onboarding and offboarding can work in mixed mode. So the two jobs we use here will detect that you are effectively selecting a hybrid user, and it will provide you some extra options to handle the AD part of it.
Thanks, Eric.
To show you an example of another case is because with the venue of Copilot, Copilot is definitely being pushed a lot by Microsoft today. They want everybody to use Copilot, but to buy Copilot, let's say, more frankly. So they want everybody to go on Copilot. Copilot is really interesting. And the problem of that is that if you just if you enable Copilot by default, Copilot is going to fit with whatever available inside of your tenant. And we're talking about any SharePoint drive, any Teams drive, and so everything is going to definitely and use what you can find. So it's really important to have a quick preview of your information first. So this is where SAP 365 can definitely help. So let's say I get all my sites here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a look on the files, so the drives of these sites to see, in fact, to have a global vision of what is there. So here, first here, I will see all my files with that date of creation, modification, who modified and everything. So already you have an assessment of what you're looking at. Then after that, if you want to have a vision more on a permission point of view, you have the ability to go and load the permission that has been set specifically on every files here. So this is what I just did. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a group on the target because I want to see how this has been set by default. So what I can see is I have the regular groups, the SharePoint groups being set for the visitors, the members. But then I have some extra permission that has been provided. For example, here, I can see that I got an anonymous link that has been provided to nobody, so an open link. Here I got a link that has been, an anonymous link that has been provided to a specific person. So from here, so it gives you a direct vision of how, what is the security, how it is set, what's going to be available, and you even have the ability to change that. So that's it.
Wow. And also a big question that comes up when you're auditing your content in SharePoint and OneDrive before you deploy Copilot, because once you turn Copilot on, it starts to index and pull in all the information that's out there. The question is usually around the date or age of those files out there. Like, I don't want Copilot indexing stuff that's older than 5 years or 6 years. And the capability to filter or identify, categorize files by, last edited date or creation date. Yeah, it's right there.
So, for example, I can change. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to change the format of that. So this is a date. And I want to see that in a more, I would say, human way. So here I can see everything here is about 2 months ago.
Cool.
And I can group by that, so I can have a quick vision of what is my situation on that, and so have a quick assessment of what are we talking, because we know that on some places, it was more kind of put everything I have there. If I have a new version, I create, add a new file, and then you get 10 times the same file of the same version. Which, but the problem is Copilot is, as an artificial intelligence, is stupid and is going to feed on everything. It's going to give you some result from the version from 2 years ago when you have a version that is more refreshed today as today.
I know. That's why that one customer, actually here in California that we talked to, wants to clean up the old versions before they turn Copilot on to make sure that doesn't occur. Eric, interesting question just came in about, remember you were showing the log area for all the activity logging. The question is, how long is that data kept in the logs, and is it possible to remove personal data out of the log if it's not needed any longer?
Yeah, it's definitely, it will be definitely possible. As today, we don't give you this option today, but because nobody asked us that, but definitely something really easy to do. We could have a cleaning job of the logs that will go and clean anything you want in the log. Yeah, for sure. That's not difficult to do. This is something we can implement. Thank you for the idea. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a really good question. All right, Eric, let me switch back to the slides real quick, and then we'll open it up for the final Q&A. Cool. So thank you, Eric, for the fabulous demo and the Q&A during the demo. It's always good to keep those interactive. So just as a wrap up, what our solution is trying to do is basically supercharge you and your team, the IT administrators, to make stuff easier for you, reduce the manual bulk updates you don't have to do, take a lot of the drudgery off your hands, and give you full visibility, a single tool set, a single UI that you can manage, monitor, do reporting out of for all of your Microsoft 365 stuff, not just users, but groups, their attributes, permissions out there, and files that are stored everywhere from SharePoint to OneDrive to different team sites. So the solution is very easy to deploy. It sets up in 10 minutes. It is a desktop application that you install, and then you can configure it in collaboration mode if you'd like to have multiple admins working off of the same set of data. So next steps, we'd love for you guys to register, and we have kind of a guided tour trial that we can run with you for a week or two, and check in with you to make sure things are going well and give you kind of tips on what we'd like you to try out. If you want to set up kind of a deep dive technical review, where we can go into specifics for your GCC high tenant. We'd love to set up that for you guys, and we can cover all of the security architecture, how we encrypt the data, what we store, and how it's all accessible. Especially important to understand the role-based access control, how we have very granular capabilities of not just what one of your help desk people can make changes on, but literally what they can see, right? Eric, you can actually filter down and not give them visibility to certain departments or groups based on an attribute. So basically it's hidden from them. Yeah, so very flexible capabilities when it comes to our RBAC settings. So
something maybe I could add is that since we're talking about the GCC with their restriction and everything, it's a desktop application. This means that it's directly between your desktop and your tenant. There is no third-party server, so the data never gets out. So everything, even the logs, is on your side. It's not outside. It's not on an external server anywhere.
Yeah, it's not cloud. It's not hosted.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and hope to talk to you soon.